Okay, quick little video. Yellow jackets. Plus two, kind of a hint that the flow has stopped or is slowing. The more bees that you see just kind of congregating in the front of hives is an indication that they're more on the defensive side. They're just hanging out there in case in case they're needed. Which brings me to, see, even their behavior. Well, see there. Anyways, but if you have a bunch of bees kind of just hanging out in the front of your colonies, this is down the whole line here, that's a sign that the flow has definitely slowed down, if not stopped. I don't know if you can see even here some of the incoming bees are being met aggressively. So that leads me to a question that I get very often this time of year, which is, what do you do about yellow jackets? And the short answer may not be what a lot of people want to hear, but I mean, if your colony is healthy enough where it should be health-wise, they should be able to defend themselves. I mean, obviously, if I'm in one of our yards, I just finished feeding these here, just closing them up as we're talking. If I'm in one of my yards and I see a massive hornet nest or yellow jacket nest, I'm obviously going to take care of it. But for the most part, if you've been managing your bees properly, you shouldn't have to worry about yellow jackets or hornets overwhelming them, short of, say, a lid blowing off or something, which I've had some colonies where there's cows, and I had the cows knock the lids off, and I've had perfectly good colonies succumb to wasps, hornets, or what have you, because of just too large of a surface area for them to defend. So that's kind of that. See, I don't know if you even notice here when I'm putting my hand here, they're very quick to kind of come and check out what I'm doing. It's a sign that the flow is slowed down. These are our late splits, and to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking for in our late splits, that's a decent one. There's a few others here that probably give you a little bit better of an idea. Let's see here. Yours. Just trying to remember here. I was just feeding this line. So the splits that you do this time of year, any of these actually are a pretty good example. This is already now the 7th of August, and so just so you know, the bottom box, and this is the new box that we put on, the bottom box probably has 6 frames of capped brood and bees. So as those hatch, it's going to be very easy for them to fill up this second box. We've also got pollen sub on the, let me see. Yeah, here's kind of a little bit better of a representation. Decent population of bees coming up already. We have pollen sub on them, we're feeding them. The goal to be that we've got two good solid boxes of bees by the time by the beginning of September, say. But anyway, yeah, these are some of the late splits that we took off. And so anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the thing on the yellow jackets. Your bees should be healthy enough to defend themselves, and really the key to that is obviously having a good young queen. I highly recommend requeening every year. It's worth it. It's worth it for the output that you'll see from your bees. Requeening every year, and then just staying on top of mites. Whether it's an alcohol wash that you're doing or mite drop, just staying on top of those mites to make sure that they are not getting out of control. Remind me while I talk while I work, if you're wondering what in the world I'm doing. I'm just preparing these for feeding. Like, see, here's a good split. Probably about half of them look like that, and then the other half are a little bit weaker, but overall quite happy with what I'm seeing. You're always going to have a certain percentage of splits that just don't do well, but what you're wanting to do in situations like that is just be really aggressive in culling. If the hive looks like it's weaker or weak, just cull it, merge it with another one. Don't waste time with it, not this time of the year. You really don't have any or much margin for error. So yeah, anyways, get this line of bees taken care of. And yeah, it's just hard to believe that we're preparing for fall already. It just feels like the summer just began. But anyways, yeah, so that's that yellow jackets, and then seems to me like there was some other topic I was going to address, but whatever. We'll just leave it with yellow jackets. We're doing pollen sub. Not only it's a pollen sub that has a very high protein percentage. The reason being that we want to stimulate brood rearing. The other reason that you want to feed a high quality pollen sub is you want the bees to put on fat. These are still summer bees that are going to be dying over the next couple of weeks, but the bees that are hatching now, well, I guess more mid-August or whatever, are the bees that are going to start making up the winter cluster. And so we're just wanting to stimulate them, have big clusters going into the fall, and also fat bees. If you haven't read about fat bees, just Google it. Randy Oliver, scientificbeekeeping.com, has done a lot of work on it. But it's really important to have good quality fat on those winter bees, because that's the resources they use for when they start rearing brood again in the late winter, early spring. So it's livestock, you just have to keep on top of the nutrition and everything else. So anyways, catch you a little later.